It's time for the results.
It's Test the Nation Part 2, and time to see how you all scored.
And you can see if you've beaten our studio groups and our celebs.
But which of our studio groups will be crowned Test the Nation champs tonight? Will it be the Explorers? They say yes it will, but it could be our school-run mums. What about the politicians? No chance, because it could be the cyclists. This lot are looking pretty happy with themselves. Our weather forecasters. Then again, it could be the builders. Don't forget, if you played online, it's not just your pride that's at stake. You are playing for your own national pride. Who knows their planet the best? Will it be the Scots, the English, the Irish, or the Welsh who top the national chart? And of course, always the bone of contention. Will it be the men or the women who come out on top this time?
Meanwhile, Jenny, you're you're representing Coronation Street. So do you think you've done well?
No.
What did you find particularly difficult?
The test.
I'm not feeling that confident, but I have to say at this point I got an N in my A-level geography.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So if
but
I didn't
you have rowed the Atlantic.
I don't know if that makes me intelligent.
No. Anne Widdecombe, how about you?
Didn't like it.
No. Now, the interesting thing is, it doesn't seem that long ago that the Green Party were the ones in charge of green issues, but now all the parties have sort of got on the bandwagon, haven't they?
Oh, well, the Conservative Party has taken the lead, yes.
Yeah. Ben got an N in O-level geography. How about you?
I passed.
You passed O-level or A-level?
Oh, no, O-level. Certainly not A-level, no.
And what bit did you find the most difficult in the test?
In the test or in the O-level geography?
No, in the test.
In the test, all of it.
All of it? We see interesting results from our celebs tonight. Philip?
Yeah, we wonder... I mean, obviously our school-run mums know that they've taken part in this part of the test, but did you know that you took part, you and every other group in this studio, in another test this evening without knowing about it? You did, actually. When you came in, we were measuring how much water was used in the toilets over a 15-minute period. Okay? So, our politicians obviously are very worried. We were monitoring their toilet habits. And how many of our politicians used the loo before the show? A couple there have got bladders of steel. This guy hasn't got his hand up. Right, okay, so we measured how much water was used by all our groups here in the studio in just 15 minutes. And here is the result. The men used 450 litres. The women used 606 litres. That is a total of 1,056 litres. And that will water 14 gardens per day all summer. Annie?
At least we've done better than the men at something. Surprises you, let's shock a few people at home, particularly those who boiled a kettle during the break. How much electricity do you think you swallowed up? OK, the National Grid, very kindly, have just taken a reading on the power surge. They tell us the extra electricity used could have run the London Eye for 310 days. How about that?
Great.
Of course, I suppose if you're really green, you'd think you shouldn't run the London Eye at all. Never mind. Time for the answers. Anybody who played interactively already has their score, so they're either looking smug or very embarrassed. Remember, I said from the start, my money was on the kids at home coming out tops. Right, the first 8 questions were all about the amazing animals on our planet. Question 1, we showed you a clip of that great impressionist. What was it? The answer is B, the lyrebird. As well as impersonating man-made machines, it's also a great mimic of other birds and animals in the rainforest, which sometimes causes confusion.
To persuade females to come close and admire his plumes, he sings the most complex song he can manage. And he does that by copying the songs of all the other birds he hears around him, such as the kookaburra. It's a very convincing impersonation. Even the original is fooled.
Question 2, we showed a clip from March of the Penguins and asked what type of penguins they were. The correct answer was B, the emperor penguin. And every winter they trudge across a heroic 70 miles of ice floe to their breeding grounds. When they arrive, the males starve themselves for 2 months while balancing new eggs on their feet, while the women go out and search for food, which sounds pretty fair to me. In question 3, we asked the name of the big-nosed seal. The answer is A, the elephant seal. Now, these seals are among the world's best divers. They can actually stay at depths of more than 1,000 meters for up to 2 hours. Question 4 from the BBC's Planet Earth series, we asked for the name of this creature. Here's the answer.
These are the first intimate images of snow leopard ever filmed in the wild.
Fantastic footage. It's B, the snow leopard, the highest land predator on the planet. And the snow leopard can bring down prey almost 3 times its own size. Question 5. The fish the grizzly bears caught so deftly were D, salmon. Question 6. Those amazing swimming monkeys would be found in D, Asia. These ones were actually filmed in Indonesia. Question 7. At 168 miles an hour, the fastest bird in the world is B, the peregrine falcon. That's more than twice the speed limit on motorways. And finally in this section, question 8. This is the biggest creature to have ever lived, but what is it? Here's the answer.
Dwarfed by the vast expanse of the open ocean, the biggest animal that has ever lived on our planet. A blue whale, 30 meters long and weighing over 200 tons. It's far bigger than even the biggest dinosaur.
So answer D, the blue whale, thought to live as long as 110 years. Mark, are you well acquainted with blue whales?
Yes, I've watched them many times over the years.
And is it astonishing close up?
They're amazing. I think describing blue whales as big is just not fair. It's like describing Bill Gates as reasonably well off. You know, it just doesn't do them justice. I once worked it out that if you have a set of weighing scales and you put an average sized blue whale on one side of the scales and you have to pile lots of other things on the other side to balance the scales, you have to put all of the following: half a dozen African elephants, a black rhino, a couple of whale sharks, 5 Tyrannosaurus rexes, 100 world-class sumo wrestlers, the entire football team of my hometown of Bristol and all their wives and girlfriends, and my car. And that lot together equals the weight of one average-sized blue whale.
Good, that gives us an idea. Thank you. Philip.
Right, let's have a look at our leaderboard for the first time this evening. And are you ready? Here we go. Who's on the bottom? It's a school-run month. No, listen. Everyone else may have 60%, so don't worry. It could be a tie. Unlikely. Oh, look. Celebrities, 72%. Then we've got our builders on 75%. Well done, builders. And then above the builders, that's a big jump. 81% for the cyclists. And then with 82%. The politicians, 83% for the weather forecasters. So what have the explorers got? Explorers, 87% for the explorers. Actually, it's the cyclists that I'm going to have a quick word with now, because we've got Colin Murray here. Colin, you had one of the strangest jungle patrols ever, didn't you?
Yes, I did. A few years back, when I was serving with the RAF regiment, we did a detachment to Belize in Central America. We used to take on frequently roles from the army to do jungle patrols. And on one occasion, we were towards the end of a patrol, and feeling quite tired, exhausted with the heat and humidity, and we're running low on water. At one particular point...
All bad things to happen, really.
Yeah, pretty bad, considering middle of nowhere, with no real support. And at the time, I started to hear music in my mind, and I was wondering, am I cracking up? Am I losing it here?
Yes. The worst thing was that you think, if you're starting to hallucinate and you're starting to imagine stuff, that the music you might hear, maybe the last music you ever hear, would not be this.
When it's spring again, I'll bring again tulips from Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's a fairly bizarre thing to hear in a Belize jungle on a patrol.
Totally bizarre, and that's why I thought I was losing it. So, didn't say anything, carried on. It was getting louder and louder, and I'm starting to look at the other guys, and they're looking at me and saying, "Do you hear what I hear?" And it's like, yes.
Which is gratifying.
Max Bygraves? It was kind of, wow. So we moved a little bit closer and tried to take a look. And eventually we saw some people in the middle of nowhere.
With a record player?
With what looked like an old gramophone-style record player.
Yeah.
And blurring out this tune. So we kind of sat and watched. And
did you not? I mean, you bearing in mind that you were sort of looking for drugs, and you're on the, sort of thinking about maybe arresting people. Did you not think perhaps that maybe they deserved arresting?
Possibly, for playing such a bad.
And you didn't
record.
run screaming back into the jungle.
I've thought about it.
Yeah. You wouldn't know your score. Let me tell you your score. You have got 7 out of 8. So well done at this point. Well done. Good stuff. Very good. Annie.
Now, Brian, you're used to going to the jungle. Has anything more traumatic happened to you than hearing a Max Bygrave?
Well, a few years ago, I was in South America in the Lost World region. The Lost World of Arthur Conan Doyle actually exists in Venezuela, the Grand Sabana. And I had to cross a river that was piranha infested. That my great nightmare is being eaten by piranhas. Piranhas have been known to kind of leave an anaconda as a skeleton within seconds. Right. So I had to strip all off except my trunks, check on my body for any wounds, any scratches. If there's a touch of blood, you'll be eaten alive.
It's a nice thought, Brian.
It is, and then slowly swam across with them all nibbling away at you-know-what.
Yeah.
And very, very slowly got across the river with thousands of piranhas nibbling away at my body as I did a breaststroke and slowly got across.
Well, that's very graphic, thank you. Now, my fellow runner, Colin Jackson. Now, you took part in Celebrity Shark Bait, didn't you? Was that very scary?
It was extremely scary, for a couple of reasons for me. Firstly, I can't swim.
Oh, really?
No, so...
Hang on a second, that's astonishing. Why can't you? Do you not like water?
I hate water. I think it's only really good for showering and boiling.
Can you drive?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, you can do some things then.
Yeah, I can do a few other things.
Yeah,
so that was one problem. The other thing, the water was absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
And thirdly, the sharks were massive.
Right.
And I wasn't expecting them to be as big as they were. They were great whites, and they stuck me down in a cage for 25 minutes.
That's television for you. Mark, are all sharks dangerous?
No, not at all. No, many sharks aren't dangerous at all. Very few actually harm people.
Oh, and how will we know as the shark comes along whether it's a dangerous one or not?
You need to read all the right books and identify as it comes.
I see. Thank you. Okay, on to section 2. This was the world about us. Question 9. How old is planet Earth? The answer, A, 4.5 billion years. Question 10. The lost world with 40 new species was recently discovered where? The answer, D, New Guinea. Now, one conservationist described it as the closest thing to the Garden of Eden we'll ever find on Earth. Mark, the lost world, how different are the animals there? Because they haven't ever seen Brian Blessed or any tourists, have they?
I think one of the main things, and it's quite a sobering thought, this, is that because they haven't come across people before, they haven't learned to be afraid of people. So those scientists that went in there and found them all, in many cases were able to go up to the animals and scoop them up in their hands and take them back to their camp to study closely. So they haven't realised yet, like most other animals in the world, that you have to run if there are people coming.
And how long will it take before they adapt?
Well, hopefully they'll wise up quite quickly.
Yeah, okay. Question 11. We showed you some stunning footage of the worst type of avalanche. What is it called? The answer is C, slab. There it is. And please note the vast majority of avalanches are actually caused by climbers, skiers and snowboarders. Question 12. The largest ocean, covering more of the Earth's surface than the land does, is B, the Pacific. It contains about 25,000 islands, more than the total number in the rest of the world's oceans combined. Question 13. What collided with Asia to create the Himalayas? The answer is D, India. BBC documentary Earth Story explains how.
And of course, in the Himalayas, that's where you're going to find Mount Everest. And Glenn Shaw is an explorer who knows very much, all there is to know about getting stuck up Everest. Bit of a scary moment for you up there.
Yes, there was. In 1997, on the south face, I had an accident and fell with my Sherpa over 2 ledges and ended up breaking both legs in 8 places.
Well, you've got brittle bones,
yes,
so
right.
I mean, for any climber, that's going to be potentially catastrophic. But for you,
it's a bit of a hazard.
Yes, but it didn't stop you going back.
No, that's right. In 2003, I went back to Everest. This time, North Face with Neil Lawton, who's sitting just here.
Hi, mate.
And the aim of the trip was to get and achieve my Everest, which we did by reaching Mallory's Cairn.
How high?
Which is just under 18,000 feet, which is well known to Brian over there.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, Brian, of course, knows all about that. Very good. Well done. Your score, doing very well. 10 out of 13 at this stage, so doing extremely well. Well done, Glenn. Terrific. Annie.
Thank you. Very impressive, that. Now, question 14. Where on earth would you find the most geysers? Answer B, Yellowstone Park. Philip, did anyone put Walford?
Where's Richard Harper?
Richard. He's a politician! Great!
Yes. Robert, is it? You put Walford!
No, I know. It was a senior moment.
What the hell sort of senior moment did you have?
I went, what's going on there? New Zealand isn't there, Iceland isn't there. I was looking for them, and I thought, oh, the beep's gone. And I pressed it.
Did you forget where you were for a moment?
Total senior moment.
Wait for a senior moment for a politician. Now you're scaring me. We'll see how you do for the rest of the quiz. Well done, well done. Very good. So yes, geysers you will find in Walford.
Do we know which party he's from?
I'm from the Green Party and very proud of it.
Excuse because he's a politician and we're not going to let him. The final set of questions in section 2 are about our planet under pressure. Question 15. We showed you a clip from the Fast Show and then asked, over which of these would you find the biggest hole in the ozone layers? Explorers, you surely knew this? Oh, they don't look so sure. Weather forecasters? Yes. The answer was? Antarctica. C, Antarctica. Correct. Question 16. Who or what represents the biggest threat to the orangutan's survival? The answer is A, palm oil production. Now, Lucy, why is that? Tell us about palm oil production.
Well, we're just using more and more. 1 in 10 items that you buy at the supermarket will have it in, and you won't even realise because it will just be labelled as vegetable oil. A lot of retailers don't even know, 87% don't know where it's from.
And why is that upsetting the orangutan?
Well, basically, we've lost 80% of the orangutan's habitat in the last 20 years due to palm oil plantations.
Right.
So it's, you know, pretty serious.
Do we need to use palm oil? Couldn't we use something else?
There are lots of other alternatives, soybean oil, all of those kind of things, corn oil, but manufacturers like it because it's cheap, it does the job in the products. But what we have to be sure with as consumers is that we put pressure on them to make sure it's sustainably derived palm oil.
Okay, thank you. Question 17, a single flight to New York creates the same amount of carbon dioxide as the average car does in how long? The answer, C, a year. Yes, very important this. Aviation is the fastest growing source of greenhouse gas emissions and is set to be the biggest contributor within 50 years. Now, Lucy, that is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it far outweighs everything else. So are we sort of wasting our time turning our televisions and laptops off? Because air travel is just doing the damage, isn't it?
No, we are not. I mean, if you think about it, we waste £4 million a year as domestic consumers leaving things on standby, which is just ridiculous. It's a nonsense. But aviation is, as you say, fastest growing, really big problem. It's exacerbated by a phenomenon called radiative forcing because planes fly so high, obviously. It's a very, very serious issue.
Yeah, so presumably you always travel by train, do you?
I try to, I try to. Well, the light green thing to do is to try and offset your plane travel emissions by planting trees or supporting renewables.
So if, for example, you travel to New York, have you done that recently?
No.
Well, where have you been recently?
Nigeria.
Okay, Nigeria. How many trees have you planted to counteract that?
Well, I feel very bad about that. I did go to an environmental conference and...
What, in Nigeria?
Yes.
So there were how many of you there?
Not very many, actually.
How many of you?
About 100.
100 of you all flew to Nigeria? You could have done it on the phone.
There. We should have done it on the phone, yes. Yes.
Okay. Question 18. Was about the hosepipe ban. When water restrictions were first introduced this year, one of these was prohibited. Which one? The answer A, watering a garden. Okay. Celebs with swimming pools. Brian.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wake up, wake up.
I'm right awake. I knew you were coming round to me, and I could feel it, yes. You're looking gorgeous. I fancy you like mad.
Thank you very much.
You look lovely. You really are a wonderfully attractive lady.
Thank you. Now tell us about your swimming pool.
Well, it's homemade. It's homemade, and I'm very green. It's full of rainwater from my water butts and things like that. I scoop a lot off and water all the plants with it. And I've just in 6 weeks' time, I'm having solar panels put on all kinds of things.
Right.
I'm president of the national parks. I bring butterfly farms into the national parks. Green, 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 man.
A saint in the studio. A hosepipe ban left on for an hour uses 1,000 litres of water, and that's equal to the average person's consumption for 6 days. Question 19. What caused these floods? Michael Fish, do you know the answer?
Well, it might be our seed.
Come on.
El Nino.
Yes, answer B. Very good. Question 20, we asked which has been the warmest decade worldwide since records began. The answer D, the 1990s. And in fact, our present decade is proving even hotter, so much so this week David Attenborough, for the first time ever, interesting this, he actually voiced anxieties about global warming. This was the headline on Wednesday's Independent. Question 21, last question in this section. Which of these is a major contributor to methane? Now, did anyone, I'm looking at the politicians, did anyone answer flatulent cows? Builders? Cyclists? Yes! Because you're right, the answer is D. A byproduct of a cow's diet is methane, and a cow on average releases an astonishing 600 litres of the stuff every day. That's enough to fill 40 balloons. And Lucy, you've got an interesting fact to add here, haven't you?
Well, in New Zealand, where there are 80 million sheep and cows, so it's a real problem, it's their main worry, their main greenhouse gas emission. And methane is 20 times worse than CO2, so that gives you some idea of the problem they're facing. And they're trying to convert it into energy using methane digesters, so convert it into electricity power.
And could we do that here?
I think we need to tackle carbon dioxide here first, and then maybe.
Good, so cows could be very useful. And that's the end of section 2. Philip.
Next, look at the leaderboard now, and who's on the bottom? School Run Mums on 53%. Not looking good for them tonight. Above them, we have the celebrities on 63%. Normally do better than that. Then we've got our builders on 67%. Above the builders, you will find the cyclists on 74%. Then we've got the politicians on 76%. Who's at the top? Is it still the explorers? Weather forecasters, 81%. And that means that the explorers are still on the top with 84%. So with 81%, let's go over to our weather forecasters and to Michael Fish. Michael, I'd have thought your geography would have been quite good.
Excellent.
Really?
Excellent.
Is it? OK, well, in which case, let me play you this clip.
Close to home, though, we hardly have a cloud to be seen. There's a little bit here in the northwest of Spain, and there's some in the northwest there of Scotland. Yes, I've got that right, Scotland. I think I should be in the Green Party. So there's another senior moment, that is.
Your computer actually had a senior moment. Let's have a look at that.
Well, it's time now to join Michael Fish at the BBC Weather Centre to find out what's in store for us on the weather front.
What's in store for you is a big problem for me, because my computer, of course, is playing up at the moment, so don't take any notice of what's happening behind me. Then, on the other hand, in the north of Scotland, very, very different indeed. Much, much colder. The temperature at best around about 12 or 13 degrees. It's a pity, actually, we haven't still got the viewers of Southeast Asia with us, because that chart behind me is showing the very strong winds across the patch. The show must go on.
Couldn't go any more wrong, could it?
No.
It could go wrong if you happen to be Helen Willits, because Helen, we expected to rain cats and dogs, but not actually mice.
Well, it was a rat, actually.
It was a rat, was it? Well, let's have a look at your rat.
But now, Helen Willits is here. What's it like weather, Helen? Not very nice by the looks of it. You've got your brolly out.
Absolutely, you have to have my brolly out now, Sean. It's coming down, the wind's picking up. At least I dressed for the weather this morning. So it's grey down here in London right now. At least the recent between the showers. Do apologies for the interruption. Let's take a look out the window in Glasgow this morning.
A rat by the Houses of Parliament.
Animal magnetism. Animal magnetism.
And Caddy Preston. Caddy, I'm going to show your clip, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Let's have a look at this.
With the sunshine, we'll find the cloud starts bubbling up, so that will block out the sunshine at times, and of course those showers start cropping up as well.
So how observant were you? Let's put that back up again. Just a bit. What were you playing at there?
They're real town names, and I just thought I wanted to make them a bit more exciting.
How much trouble did you get into?
I got in a lot of trouble, but only got one complaint, and that was from a little 93-year-old lady, and she said, "My dear Caddy, I was most offended by your weather map. You forgot Badger's Mount."
Well done, very good. Now, there's one thing I do need to point out here. Right then, Penny Tranter. There you are, Penny. Rob McElwee and Kirsty McCabe. Yeah. 3 people here, all have 19 out of 21. All got the same questions right. All got the same questions wrong. You are cheating.
We've got different ones wrong.
It's not a team game.
I got number 1 wrong.
We'll come back to you later. Annie.
Yeah, well, you see now, the weather forecasters, because they're second top, aren't they? And the poor builders, I bet they're not cheating. They're down the bottom. And actually, they're giving me great pleasure here. There's some very nice legs on show and some very handsome faces. Thank you very much. Next, section 3. Firstly, how much did you know about where in the world? Question 22. Which of these is not in the southern hemisphere? Answer C, India. This wasn't always the case. India originally was in the southern hemisphere, but moved upwards 85 million years ago to create the Himalayas, as we saw in question 17. Question 23. Which country has the most coastline? Answer A, Canada. Question 24. Where will you find the only existing 7th wonder of the world? The answer is B, Egypt. It's, of course, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Question 25, the Grand Canyon is where? Answer A, Arizona. Question 26, which of these countries has the most Spanish speakers? The answer is B, Mexico. Question 27, we asked you to look at this map and work out which place would be furthest north. Quite tricky, as you can see. The furthest south is South Island, New Zealand. Moving up, next furthest south is North Korea, then North Dakota, so the furthest north is Northumberland. Answer D. Yeah, the weather forecasts are very pleased with themselves, even the ones that have been cheating. Still in section 3, we showed clips of celebrities exploring remote parts of the globe. 5 questions, here are the answers. Question 28. First you saw the men behaving badly down under, and we asked, what name is Uluru also known as? The answer is B, Ayers Rock. Question 29, we saw Ian Wright hunting with Bushmen. Where were they from? Here's the answer.
The Bushmen used to be all over southern Africa, but after persecution there are only a few left, mostly living on the edge of the Kalahari.
So the answer is D. Question 30, we asked how long it would have taken Michael Palin to walk around the world from the South Pole. Let's find out.
It's impossible to go further south than this. Every direction you go in will be north. At this point, I can actually walk right around the world in 8 seconds, as I will now demonstrate.
So the answer is A, 8 seconds. Question 31, which spider was Lenny Henry so afraid of?
You see how fast that thing moved? Imagine if that was in your pants. Terry the tarantula meets Len the scaredy pants.
Answer B, the tarantula. Question 32, our last celebrity explorer was Jack D in Siberia, which makes up 50% of where? The answer is C, Russia. And moving on to the final questions in section 3, called Around the World in 60 Seconds. Now this featured those very catchy national anthems. How did you get on? Quite hard, this. Question 33, which European country is this? The answer is B, Belgium. Question 34, which African country is this? The answer is A, Kenya. Question 35, which of India's neighbours is this? The answer D, Bangladesh. Its national anthem, by the way, is called My Golden Bengal. Question 36, which Asian country is this? The answer A, South Korea. Oh dear. Question 37, which South American country is this? The answer C, Paraguay, whose national anthem, by the by, has the fetching title of Paraguayans, Republic or Death. Question 38, closer to home, a British island where? The answer is A, Jersey. Now, the anthem we played you, that's Ma Normandy. It's not actually their national anthem because God Save the Queen is. Ma Normandy is what they use in Jersey for ceremonies like the Commonwealth Games. And that's the end of section 3. Philip, at just over halfway stage, how's everyone doing?
Yeah, let's see if it's changed. Are the explorers still at the top? We have now got the school... Oh, no. School run mums on 50%. And then we've got the celebs on 62%. No change at the bottom then. And then we have our builders on 65%. Above our builders, we've got the cyclists on 72%. Yeah, there's a pattern emerging here. Politicians on 75%. So the weather forecasters are on 81%, and we've got the explorers on 82%. So as, of course, you travel around the world, of course you have to eat various things. You don't want to offend anyone if you're offered it. And we've got Anne Daniels. Hello, Anne.
Hello.
Hi. You went. Whereabouts were you when you had your ice cream?
I was up in the Arctic.
And what was your ice cream made out of?
It was made out of reindeer tallow, seal blubber and water.
And is it the sort of thing, should we have a long hot summer, will you be tucking into a tub of that again?
It's not as good as strawberry, but I've got good bounce-back ability and it was all right.
You wouldn't have it again?
Never again.
Well, here's one for you. Let's cross the studio here to a gentleman called Lee. Lee Allen. Whereabouts are you, Lee? Hello, mate.
Sure, Lee.
OK, so, Lee, you went to Greece?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. What did you have when you were in Greece?
I had a sparrow kebab.
Was there a moment that you thought, oh, I'm going to go garden, you know, put the food out, the peanuts and things, that's what I'm eating?
For a moment, yeah, just one moment, though.
Did it just have lots of sparrows
yeah,
on the
3
kebab?
sparrows on a little skewer.
Not much meat on a...
No, mainly bone.
Really? And looking around the studio here, do you feel OK about saying that you've eaten sparrow kebab?
Slightly guilty.
Yeah, what do we think here in the studio? I've got your score, actually. You've got 24 out of 38, actually, so far. Very good.
Lucy, is it actually any worse eating sparrow than chicken, or is it just a perception because they're sweet and in our gardens?
It is an unusual idea to eat sparrow. I suppose there would be a sustainability argument because something like battery-raised chickens, industrially reared animals, they all have a big environmental impact. So perhaps, or Mark's looking at me with horror about eating sparrows.
Don't you eat sparrows?
No, I don't eat sparrows. I think the trouble is, it's hard to believe, but the sparrow population is actually declining. A bird we really take for granted is declining very fast. So the last thing they need is more people to eat them.
Maybe not.
But the general principle of eating birds, garden birds, is okay as long as they're not declining.
Get so many letters about this, but it's better to eat birds
No,
that have
but
been
it is
wild.
interesting how perceptions of things, aren't they? That some things are okay to eat and some things aren't.
Well, I think a wild bird is better than one that's been in a battery farm, for sure.
Now, Zoe, you've had a bad experience with food in Iceland. Shall we take a look?
That's good, you're doing well, you're doing better than me.
I can't swallow it.
Yes, you can. Go on, come on, yes, you can. That's, you look like you're eating a Sunday dinner.
Zoe,
what was it?
It was absolutely vile. It's the worst thing I've ever eaten. It was shark's meat, but you're getting a lot more than you bargain for eating shark's meat because actually it's got the shark's urine in it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Ben, what's your worst experience of eating an odd food?
I've got a bit of a strange one, actually, because I do a program, Animal Park, and one day I was there basically teaching everyone how to give a guinea pig a pedicure and how to brush its hair, and the following day I went to do another program out in Peru, and our first evening meal was guinea pig, and you're supposed to eat it head first, which was pretty horrid.
Was it nice to eat?
It tasted like chicken. I shouldn't really say that. Everything tastes like chicken, doesn't it?
Philip?
I was watching Anne Widdecombe here very carefully during the clip and during your story. Head in your hands, you go, oh, that's terrible. Are you very adventurous when it comes to food, Anne?
No, and the answer is no, I'm not.
Really? Let me show you.
Absolutely not.
Let me show you. It's our own little Bombay mix here we've got for
Yes,
you.
I'm sure it is.
These are African Mapani worms.
After you.
No, you said after me. They've got a strange sort of nutty flavour, haven't they?
Doesn't taste of anything, really.
Well, it does to me. I think you made the wise choice there. Ali.
Thank you. On to the answers for section 4, the living planet. We started with 6 questions on fact or fiction. Now, in question 39, we saw Ricky Gervais talking about polar bears, but which of these would you not find in the Arctic with the polar bear? Anne Widdecombe, you surely knew the answer to this.
Penguin.
Penguin, absolutely right. Answer C. The penguin is only found in the southern hemisphere. Question 40. Why do these crabs cross Christmas Island? The answer A, to breed. And if you're not too fond of crabs, then Christmas Island should definitely be off your holiday wish list, because for every human resident on the island, there's 80,000 of them. Mark, you could tell us something interesting about those crabs, couldn't you?
Yeah, they have this amazing migration, and there are literally millions of these crabs, all bright red with a few aubergine-coloured ones in for good measure. And they swarm down the sides of the island to the sea, and they march through everything. So they march through people's houses, through the school classrooms, through the pub, over the roads, as we saw earlier on. And of course, the islanders try to avoid them, but can't always. occasionally run them over, but the crabs get their own back because they, with their sharp pincers, puncture the tyres. And there's supposed to be more tyre punctures per square mile on Christmas Island than anywhere else in the world.
And they're not even edible. Question 41, we asked which of these doesn't exist. Well, here's proof that 3 of them do.
They're walking on their wrists, with the bones of their fingers pointing upwards and slotted into a groove along the upper arm. Now they seem to be hunting as a pack. Insects or other small creatures in the leaf litter, fleeing from the jaws of one, run straight into those of another. The flying frog of Central America has a parachute on each foot, formed by the web of skin between its toes. So one jump from a high branch is enough to carry it from one tree to another. One particularly ferocious hunter lives on the edge of lakes and ponds in Europe, the fishing spider.
So the answer is D. We made up the tree-climbing ostrich. Question 42. The correct term for a female hippopotamus is A, cow. Hippopotamus means river horse. Philip.
Thanks very much. I've got Paul Alem here. Will you excuse my breath? I have African Mapani worm breath at the moment. In the first part of the programme, Reggie Perrin likened his mother-in-law. Every time he thought about his mother-in-law, he thought of a hippopotamus. Now, I mean, no way am I making that connection with your mother-in-law, but you did have a problem with her.
Yeah, when my wife was my girlfriend, I stayed around her parents' house while they went away for the weekend. Anyway, without them knowing. Anyway, they came home unexpectedly, so I had nowhere to go except for the wardrobe.
You were in your girlfriend's bedroom, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. No clothes on?
No clothes on.
And you hid in the wardrobe?
Yeah, I had to hide in the wardrobe.
How long were you in the wardrobe for?
2.5 hours.
And when did you tell her about this?
Well, she doesn't know.
No.
Until now.
This is the first time she has ever heard that story?
Yeah.
What's she called?
Pitsy, her name is.
Pitsy?
Yeah.
Sorry, Pitsy. And your score, 26 out of 42.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, well done. Well done. What a big round of applause. Well done.
Question 43. What sort of animal is the South American bush dog? OK. Own up. Who put dog? No, none of the politicians put dog, and that's because the answer is D, dog. Question 44. Why did the frog make this noise? Answer B, it's to scare off aggressors. This is a horned frog. Not only does it make that horrible sound, it also swells in size to scare other creatures away. On to the last set of questions in section 4. Now, this was the quick fire round, so you had to have your wits about you, deciding which was the odd one out. Question 45. Which of these does not have cubs? The answer A, the beaver. The beaver's young are known as kits or pups. Question 46. Which is not a fish? The answer D, the starfish. Fish are vertebrates, while starfish are spineless. Next, question 47. Which of these is the only one that can fly? The answer C, puffin. Question 48. Which of these common plants isn't poisonous to humans? The answer D, dandelion. So if you're out in the country this summer feeling peckish, do not eat a foxglove, a lily of the valley, or a rhododendron. They're all likely to give you a nasty stomach upset. Question 49. Which of these is a marsupial? The answer B, the possum. They're a type of mammal who often carry their young in pouches, rather like the kangaroos. Question 50. Which of these does not have a beak? The answer is B, the giraffe doesn't have a beak. Question 51. Which of these does not eat meat? The answer is B, the koala, which feeds almost entirely on eucalyptus leaves. Now, the duck found in your local duck pond is not a meat eater, of course, but the South Georgia pintail duck from Antarctica, well, he does eat meat. The carcasses of seal is a favourite. Question 52. Finally, in this section, we asked which of these is not a monkey. Now, this was tricky because the answer is actually A, the chimp, which is classed as an ape. And that's the end of section 4. Just one more section to go. Philip.
Let's have a look at the scoreboard again now. We do see a pattern emerging here, it has to be said. Yeah, 51% of the school-run mums. Above the school-run mums, we have got the celebrities on 60%. And then we've got the builders on 64%. Followed by the cyclists on 71%. Then we've got Our politicians on 73. But is the top the same? Yes, it is. Weather forecasters, 79%, with the explorers on 81%. So it is to the triumphant explorers that we have to go. Okay. And a great story here from Liz. Liz Gray. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
So, so you were whereabouts were you with your bush problem?
I was in Uganda in a remote national park.
Yes. And you're in the loo.
Yes, we had built a fantastic, elaborate long drop with beautiful decoration, magazine rack. the
Long
whole
drop?
works. Bush
So
toilet.
so far down you don't hear the
It's
splosh.
a pit toilet, yeah, basically.
Okay. Yeah. And you built this.
Built this, yeah, and I was enjoying it one morning. I'd just about finished reading my magazine when from around the corner appeared this Cape buffalo, and I'd been told 3 days before by a park ranger that if a Cape buffalo runs at you, it's not going to stop until it's got you.
And you're on the loo.
I'm on the loo with
That's
my
enough to
shorts
scare
and
the
my ankles.
shower of you, isn't it? I mean, that's terrifying.
You said it, not me.
Yes, so you wouldn't need any help there.
No.
What did you do?
Well, I stood up, still with my shorts down around my ankles,
Yes.
because I was too terrified to pull them up. And I thought, well, the only escape is to jump into the long drop, which wasn't a good option. So I shouted for the park ranger, who luckily heard me, came running out with a gun, fired a few shots, and a buffalo went off.
He saved you?
He saved my life. But
you gave him a big hug?
No, because I still had my shorts around my ankles. It wasn't a great view for him.
He saw you like that?
He did, yeah.
You may think that actually that's quite a unique and unusual thing to happen, but in fact, not a matter of feet away, we've got someone who else has had the same problem. Dick Strawbridge, you had toilet trouble as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in Algonquin National Park in Canada, and I was on a Canadian canoe trip where you go and you actually go across the lakes in your canoe, then you carry them over mountains. It seemed to be a good idea at the time, but I stopped to do the necessary, trousers around the ankles again, I can appreciate this, and a moose came around the corner. And when you're squatting, a moose is huge, yeah. So
And
what
did you do?
You just keep squatting.
You don't move?
Oh, absolutely not.
Look like a moose.
Actually, I look more like a moose dropping, actually.
I suspect a moose dropping's rather large.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Yeah, okay. Annie?
Yeah, final section of answers now. We started with 7 questions on matters close to home. So question 53 was about hedgehogs. What shouldn't you feed them? The answer D, yes, surprisingly, bread and milk. Okay, hands up anyone here who's ever fed a hedgehog bread and milk. Oh, one explorer and Anne Whitaker. How many hedgehogs have you killed?
I don't think I've killed any because they bred and produced babies.
Oh, did they? The
Yes.
very tough hedgehogs that Anne
must have
Whitaker
been.
knows. But it does actually give hedgehogs, milk and bread gives hedgehogs diarrhea. You can feed them tin pet food, but only meat. Question 54, which of these is the most common songbird in the UK? The answer is C, the wren. In Britain, there are more than 7 million male wrens, but only 4.5 million blackbirds. The Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, for some reason, only count male birds in their statistics. Philip, did anyone actually put Charlotte Church?
Yes, in fact, they did.
Another politician?
No, it's a cyclist that put Charlotte Church, and it's James Grace. Where's James? James Grace, what are you just mucking about?
Yeah.
For one moment there, you didn't think that it was actually the true answer.
No.
No, how do you think you're doing this evening?
Quite well.
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to tell you, as a matter of fact, James, if you're mucking about like that, it's not a brilliant score. Sorry, mate. You're not lifting the average of the team up much here. Annie.
Question 55. Where in the British Isles would you find the Giant's Causeway? Well, I can't imagine anyone in Northern Ireland getting that wrong. The answer is, of course, D. It lies on the edge of the Antrim Plateau, 25 miles northeast of Londonderry. Off to Scotland for question 56. Which of these can be sighted around Loch Lomond? The answer is C, the wallaby. And if you're up that way, this is what a Scottish wallaby looks like.
We know about the Bonnie Banks. But a colony of wallabies, around 40 of the marsupials, have lived on one of the islands in Loch Lomond for decades. Despite the temperatures, they've thrived on the island, to the surprise of locals and Antipodeans.
Right. Question 57. The largest shark found in British waters is called what? The answer is D, the basking shark. And last summer, around 200 were spotted in waters off Devon and Cornwall and the Hebrides. Mark, what are they doing there, the basking sharks?
They're feeding, basically. Basking sharks are semi-vegetarians, really, unlike most sharks. What they do is they have these huge sort of industrial-sized mouths with Tina Turner lips. And they're huge sharks, they're like 30 feet long, and they swim through the sea near the surface and basically take in all the seawater with lots of microorganisms, little mini plants and animals, and then sieve them all out.
And is it unusual for them to be in Cornwall?
No, Cornwall's one of the best places in the world to see them.
Great. Question 58. How many islands make up Great Britain? The answer D, 7,747. Unbelievable amount, that. And that actually excludes islands around Northern Ireland. Question 59. Finally, in the close to home section, a question about rubbish. Each hour, the UK produces enough to fill what? The answer is D, the Albert Hall. We generate around 28 million tonnes of household refuge a year. Can we improve on that if we tried a bit, Lucy? I know you're keen on this.
Absolutely. First of all, we could compost, and I won't go on about that again, but we could compost 70% of our household waste.
Yeah.
We could also, recycling's great, but it should be the last stage, so we also need to reduce and reuse first. If you think about all the packaging you buy, the average family spends about £470 a year on packaging, and that's enough for kind of 8 weeks of normal shopping. So we could do a lot by cutting back.
Okay. Nearly there, everyone. Here are the final 6 answers in Know Your Planet. Then we will find out our winners and losers. These were about looking to the future. So question 60 was on Coldplay's latest album, X and Y, and asked, how did they try to carbon neutralise the release? The answer is A, planting new trees. Carbon neutralising is doing nice greeny things that offset the pollutions one's business may cause. And of course the tree planting is a very good example because trees absorb carbon dioxide. Now, Dick, carbon neutralising is a favourite subject of yours, isn't it?
Yes, we do that.
That's not because you've made a record with Coldplay, though?
Absolutely not, no. Who are Coldplay? I suppose some things we're doing, we're trying to get away from using fossil fuels, so we're using things like biodiesel, and we're talking about travelling as well. We planted a willow coppice and some of the local sort of nut trees and fruit trees, and the whole idea is when you put a tree in, if you leave it for its whole life, it starts adding back, it takes away the carbon dioxide and puts out more oxygen. So we're going for that.
Question 61. Fuel cell buses help to reduce pollution and noise, but what do they run on? Now, the school-run mums know this surely because they arrived in one. Was it good for you, that trip here? Yes. And the answer is C, hydrogen. And incidentally, London is one of 9 cities in Europe taking part in trials for possible future use of these vehicles. Question 62. Which of these claims about organic food is not true? The answer C, organic food are not genetically modified. Question 63. George Clooney made the news last year for getting what? The answer A, an all-electric car. It's called the Tango, made for gorgeous George here in England and then shipped to LA. I wish I'd been inside it. Lucy's got some Hollywood gossip here.
Woody Harrelson, the Hollywood actor, he did a tour of the US, an eco tour last year in a hemp-fueled bus. And Daryl Hannah, very, very green, she did the Gumball Rally in a kind of hybrid car this year.
And they never travel on airlines, I'm sure. Question 64. Which of these can be used as a greener fuel for cars? Dick Strawberry, do you know about this?
Cooking oil.
That's correct. But beware, the cooking oil has to be turned into something called biodiesel, as Dick was saying before you can even consider putting it into your engine. Using ordinary cooking oil would only do damage. Question 65. Which organisation to protect the planet has Eddie Izzard made an advertisement for? The answer is B, Greenpeace. He also voices the Recycle Now ad, and here's a bit more of glorious Eddie telling us about when God created Earth.
The second day he created fire and water and eggnog and radiators and lights and Burma and things that go and Colonel Gaddafi and Arthur Negus.
And that's the end of the test, the nation's Know Your Planet test. Well done, everyone. Time to add up your scores. In a few moments, we'll show you our specially designed lookup table. Then you can work out whether mums beat dads, granddads beat grannies, and whether anyone beat the kids.
But first, let's get some results from the people all over the UK who've been playing along on the web. First, which of our nation knows their planet the best? Are the winners from Wales? Can Scotland prove to be a bunch of smart Alecs? Northern Ireland always put up a strong challenge. And of course, with the World Cup just days away, can anyone beat England? Right, let's find out. Here is the nation's leaderboard. Northern Ireland on 36, 37 for England, and Wales, 38 for Scotland. Well done. Now, of course, if you were playing online, you were representing wherever it is that you happen to live, and it will have had a result on this board, and that is our cities. Newcastle got 36 along with Birmingham, and Swansea, and Belfast, and Liverpool, and Leeds, and Glasgow. Norwich, 37 for London, and then Manchester, Cardiff on 37, Bristol 37, Southampton, and Plymouth, 38 for Aberdeen. Well done, Aberdeen. Well done, Sheffield. Well done, Leicester. Congratulations, Brighton. And well done, Edinburgh. 40 for Edinburgh. It's normally quite close, but 36 to 40, that's a reasonable range. Here you go. Here's the big one. The ladies have never beaten the blokes. We've had one draw in one of our other destinations, but the ladies have never beaten the men. So, ladies, do you know more about the planet than the blokes do? Here you go. Men versus women. And... oh, it's happening again! 40 for the blokes and 34 for the ladies.
We were making the tea. Now, for everyone playing at home, here's the look-up table for you to check how you did. With any luck, whatever your score, we've all learnt a bit more about the planet this evening, and we're all a bit greener than when we started. Anyway, if you scored more than 50, then you're definitely not on another planet. You're in the top 5%. Well done. And I hope on the phone now we've got the country's highest scorer online. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, your name is?
Kelvin Jones.
Well, congratulations. What was your score, Kelvin?
I can't believe it, but it was 61.
61 out of 65. That's very impressive. Okay. I'm sorry you're not a girl. It would have been nice if you were. How old are you?
I'm 39.
You're 39 and you live where?
In Swansea.
In Swansea. Congratulations. You've
Or
done
northern Spain, according to Michael Foot.
Now, tell me, are you very green in your habits?
Well, I try to be, yes. I recycle.
And what job do you do?
I work for a community development organisation.
Well, you've done very well indeed. Congratulations,
Thank
Kevin.
you very much.
Now it's time to see who won the Battle Royal here amongst our studio groups. Who's feeling confident? Who feels like winners? Of course, you know, school-run mums, anything could happen in the last board, but probably won't. Right, let's have a look at the leaderboard now, the final one. School-run mums, 33, that's your average out of 65. We've converted it now from percentages. Above the school-run mums, finally, 38 for the celebs. Then we've got our builders on 41. Well done, builders. You'll find the cyclists on 46. Politicians on 46, sharing that position with the cyclists. And finally, the weather forecasters on 50. And we've got the explorers, triumphant this evening. It's to be expected, I suppose, with 51. Right. So now let's find out who has the highest individual score this evening. Would we find the highest individual score amongst our politicians? You know, for once you're absolutely right. Would we find that highest scorer amongst our school-run mums? That would be a turn up for the books. Would we find our highest scorer amongst the highest group, the explorers? Yes is the answer. Would Eleanor Griebson please stand up? Eleanor. Now, Eleanor. Right, come with me. Now, we've never done this before. You got 59 out of 65. 59 out of 65. How old are you?
18.
You're 18. Very green, obviously. You know your planet. But you're going to have to share your prize with someone else. So, in which group is the other person with 59 out of 65? Would that person be in the builders? No! What about here in the cyclists? Don't be daft. The person, come over here with me, the person you've got to share this with is somewhere here amongst our weather forecasters. And it is, I said we'd come back to him, Rob McElwin! Rob McElwin! Now, of course, for the first time ever, we have a dilemma. You played as a team.
We are told by the Secretary of State for Education to build on teamwork in
Yes,
schools.
but not sadly in this studio. You are disqualified, you're the winner. Well done! Congratulations! Ali!
Okay, now this is the bit I really love. Let's see how the celebs did. Their fabulous results. I'm going to announce the top 3. I don't think any of them have cheated, but let me tell you, joint second are Colin and Ben. Congratulations. 46 out of 65, but the winner by far, 54 out of 65, is Dick. Congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
He lives the life.
It's recycled.
Very good, Dick, because you live the life, don't you? You deserve it. And it's been a terrific night. Thank you to all our groups. The Clever, the Explorers.
The School Run Moms!
The Politicians.
The Cyclists!
The Weather Forecasters.
And the Builders!
Thanks also to our 2 gurus, Mark Carradine and Lucy Siegel. And of course our celebs.
The test is online for 2 weeks, so if you missed it, you've just come home from the pub, shame on you, but have a go and see how you do.
And we'll be back in September with another challenging IQ test. And remember, if you want to join us here for that, the details are coming up again now.
Thanks very much indeed for
Thank
watching
you for
tonight.
watching.
I hope you
Good
enjoyed
night.
it. Good night.